Small businesses are building loyal communities of raving fans without going viral. Here's exactly how they're doing it and how you can as well. When you're focused on building a loyal community and not just getting likes and not chasing more and more followers, the first thing you need is a clear mission. And I don't mean some cheesy, corporate sounding slogan, right? Like, we empower purpose-driven brands to achieve scalable growth. That stuff is out the door. No one connects with that anymore. Nobody repeats that at all. And it's just more noise. I'm talking about a real mission. One that people feel. One that hits so clearly that when someone hears it, they automatically know, yup, this is where I belong. It should sound like a belief and not a brand tagline. That's not what we're going for. Mine is, I believe that small business owners deserve to create video content that works. Not just content that looks good, but does nothing. And even deeper than that, I believe very strongly in helping you build a real community. Not just an audience, not just views and likes. A community of people who come back because it actually means something. That's why I do what I do. That's why I created Clear Voice Media. If you don't have that kind of belief behind your business yet, that's your first step. You know, think about it like this. What do you actually stand for? Not what do you do and what's your job title and what are the services that you offer? What's the one thing that you believe most people in your space are not saying out loud, right? You need a mission that someone can feel in their heart, a reason to come back, a reason to trust you. Because if you're just another person that's shouting into the feed, right? There's nothing for people to actually grab onto. Here's a quick gut check for you. If somebody watched your past 3 videos, could they tell you what you stand for? Think about it, right? Think about it right now and let me know below in the comments. If the answer is no, that's a problem, okay? Because people don't follow random tips anymore. They are starting to follow movements. They're following messages. They follow people who actually stand for something. Now, let's make this really simple. You don't need another branding exercise. You don't need a mission statement document, right? Here's how you find your mission in literally 60 seconds. You just have to ask yourself these 2 super simple questions. What are you sick of seeing in your industry? And do it right now while you're thinking about it. Stop the video and do it. And this is question number 2. What do you actually want to be known for instead? Let me give you an example. I personally am sick of business coaches, strategists, consultants, whatever you want to call them, who make people feel like they're behind just because they don't post enough content. So what do I want to be known for personally? Helping people create videos that connect and build real relationships without burning out and selling their souls. That's pretty much the filter that I run all of my content through. If it doesn't serve that mission, I'm not posting it, And if it does, I want to double down on it. And what happens when you get this right is that people start quoting you back to you, which is pretty awesome, right? They start saying, I come to your page because I always feel like you get me. And they stick around not just because you're helpful, right? That's a huge benefit, but because you represent something that they believe in as well. That is what community is. And it starts with a belief, right? You're going to draw that proverbial line in the sand. A simple statement that someone can repeat to a friend. Okay? Just make it very simple. So before you focus on all these different tactics and before you start worrying about engagement and reach and watch time and all this other stuff, just ask yourself, what is the one thing that I want people to feel when they come across my content? That's the power of a community that moves people. And once people feel that, they start paying closer attention. But there's something else that they'll need to see before they're going to fully buy in. It's what makes them really go from curious to commit it. Let me show you what that is. Hey, if you're interested in going further with me and you want to join my free community where I get to go deeper with you and share behind the scenes stuff and talk more about building community, video strategy, and all that great stuff, all you have to do is join the free community, right? You can scan the QR code on the page or you can click the link in the description. All right, now that your community knows what you stand for, they also need to know what you stand against. So if you want people to really stick around, share your message, and tell their friends, they need something to rally against as well. And once I learned this, it changed so much for me. Every single great community has a common enemy. And it doesn't have to be a person, it doesn't have to be a company or corporation. Sometimes it's just shared frustration, you know? Think of cult-like followings like Pokemon and the Grateful Dead. Part of their power was giving people an escape from what they were sick of in their life. And they wanted a different world, and they wanted better options, and they wanted to just feel connected to something else. You can do the same thing in your business. So what does that actually look like for you? It's the things your people are tired of hearing about. The advice that just doesn't work. The tactics that burn them out, but people keep pushing down their throats. The fake pressure to post every single day and to go viral or to become some untouchable brand, right? Like all of that noise. Your job is simple, and it's this: start calling it out. Make it clear what you don't believe in, and make it clear what you're doing instead so people can actually understand. Here is an example. I'm sick of business owners being told that they have to go viral in order to grow. So what do I do instead? I showcase just honest, clear videos that build real community and actually convert. Like, it's that simple. It doesn't have to be this grand display. That's my enemy. The pressure to be everywhere all of the time across all other platforms. Every time I post, I'm pushing against that as best as I can. You need the same thing as well, because when people see you calling out what's been frustrating them, they're going to start to trust you more. They're going to start to rally with you, and they start to believe that you're one of the few who actually get it. And here's a really simple way to do this. List the things that your ideal client is sick of hearing. You're in your industry and you know better than anyone. Then write down the bad advice that they keep seeing and hearing. And think about the strategies that didn't work for you personally and why. And here's where you break it together, because you start weaving all of this in to your own content. And when you do this right, like when you really truly understand this, your audience doesn't just follow you. They actually fight with you. And nothing builds a loyal community faster than shared frustration against the status quo. I promise you. But even when they know what you stand for and now what you stand against, there's another layer that they need. It's what makes your message feel really real and makes them believe that they can really trust you. And we're going to break that down next. If you want to build a loyal community in the age of AI and not just get likes or views, you need real human people at the center of your content. And I'm not talking about a brand. And I'm not talking about slick designs and logos and another stupid quote graphic. I'm talking about people, characters that your audience can relate to and they can root for and they can feel connected to. That's how cult-like communities are formed. So think about your favorite shows and books or other fandoms. They all have someone that you can latch onto. Harry Potter. It isn't just about magic, right? It's about Harry, the person, the underdog who's trying to figure life out, trying to do the right thing, even when it feels too messy. And then you have Pokemon, right? It isn't just about catching them all, right? It's about Ash, who is a real kid, right? A scrappy, stubborn kid who dreams, who keeps showing up time after time again. And then even let's look at music, right? The Grateful Dead, perfect example. Their fans literally created a lifestyle around that band. And it wasn't just the music, it was the people who were a part of it. the story and that feeling of belonging. And your content needs that too, because people don't connect with perfection anymore. They just don't care. They want to connect with people. And the first character they need to see is you. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Shawn, I'm not interesting, or I don't know how to be that person on camera. I don't know what to say, right? Listen. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to be high energy. You just have to be real. That's what worked when I built a Facebook group, right? In 2018, around the time that I started making video content. And now, 22,000 plus members later, I didn't have like this giant master plan or a perfect content calendar. I just showed up consistently every day for a long time. I was raw, I was real. A lot of times I was tired, but I was always present. And that consistency and the honesty, it created trust. People just started tagging their friends and their family members and answering each other's questions and showing up without me having to do anything. It took a long time, but that's where it's at now. That's community. And the reason why it worked is because I wasn't trying to be someone else and copy other people. Like, I was just being the most honest version of myself. I wanted to create a community page around where I lived because I love where I live. But let me be super clear here. You don't need to be a personality, right? You don't need to be Gordon Ramsay or Dave Ramsey or any other Ramsey. You just need to be a real human person. And once you're visible in your content, and you're not just teaching and selling and tactics and this and that, but actually sharing who you are, that opens the door for others to feel like they belong. And once you have that foundation, you can start expanding your characters, right? Your characters can be anyone that's in your world, right? It could be your team, even if it's just a virtual assistant or a partner. It can be your clients, right? Especially the ones with those relatable, messy stories. You don't have to divulge anything personal. And then it could be your super fans, right? It's the people who always show up. They always comment. They always share. They're just always there for you. Put them in your content. Put them in your content, right? Talk about their struggles. Celebrate their wins. Show how they're growing alongside of you. Because this does two really powerful things, and it builds belonging, first off, so your audience starts to feel like they're part of your inner circle. That is gold. And then it builds aspiration. They start to see what's possible for them by watching others succeed. So just take a second right now and think about it, right? Stop the video and think about it like this. Every great story has a cast, and your business should too. So here's a question I'm going to pose to you. If someone watched your last 10 videos, could they name a single person from your world? If not, that's a missed opportunity. So think about it right now, right? Put it in the comments below. Where do you need to focus on? Because the more people, the more faces that people actually see, they become familiar with, it becomes, building trust. It builds connection. It builds that community that you're looking for. And here's one last thing I'm going to say on this. When you stop hiding behind the polished graphics and you start putting real people front and center, especially you, something shifts. Something is going to shift. Your content stops feeling like content. I actually hate that word. I don't even want to say it anymore because it starts feeling like purpose. That's why people keep coming back to you. That's when they invite their friends, and that's when you stop being an account they follow and become a leader they trust. And this next part, it's where all of that energy, the people, the connection, the trust starts to build into something bigger. And let me show you what that looks like. Let's talk about something that most people skip when they're trying to grow a community. Your message. Not your content calendar, not your offer, which is important, not your niche, which is important, but your message. The thing that everything else flows from. Because if you don't have a message, you're just making noise, and there's too much noise out there already. Let me be really honest. Most content is just that. It's noise. You've seen it. The same boring hooks, the same boring templates, the same 3 tips repeated in 100 different ways, right? It all blends together and you scroll right past it. So what actually makes you stop? It's not the editing, sometimes it's the editing, and it's not always the trending videos, and sometimes it is. It's when someone says something that really hits home. Something that grabs your chest and makes you say, that's exactly how I was feeling. That's what your message needs to do. Your message is literally the heartbeat of your community. It's what people repeat to themselves when they're doubting everything. It's what they quote to a friend when they try to explain what you're about. And it's what keeps them coming back, even if you don't post for a week or 2, or I don't know, maybe even a month, right? So how do you build a message like that? Let's break it down into 3 simple, super simple things that your message has to do. Number 1, it has to name the frustration. So if you want to connect with people, you need to start where they're at. It's pretty simple, right? Not where you are. What are they tired of hearing, right? So what's confusing them? What's something that they've tried that hasn't worked? You gotta say it clearly and plainly, like you're reading their mind. Because when someone hears their struggle said out loud with no fluff or filter, they're leaning in. That's when they start trusting you. Number 2, it has to offer hope. Once you've named the problem, you can't just leave people there. You've got to show them that there's a better way. And I'm not talking about this rah-rah motivational way with all these quotes and all that stuff like that, but in a grounded, real, here's how we start climbing out kind of way. So right now, think about it. What do you believe that your ideal person that you're trying to target needs right now? What's possible, even if it feels far off? Here's how I say, you don't need to post more. You need to post better. One video that speaks directly to the right person can change your whole entire business. So that kind of statement makes people breathe again. You know, it gives them a way forward. And when your message does that, people remember. And number 3, it has to be repeated everywhere. A good message isn't said once. It's said over and over and over again until you feel tired of saying it, but you can't ever be tired of saying it. It's in your videos, it's in your emails, your captions, your conversations with everyone, because that's how trust is built. People need to hear things multiple times, a lot, before it actually sinks in. So think about the brands and the communities that you love. They all have that one line that just gets clicks, right? For the Grateful Dead, once a deadhead, always a deadhead. For Pokemon, gotta catch them all, right? Even if you haven't heard of Pokemon, you probably heard that. For the local business owner who runs a free community with 22,000 people, maybe it's, we're not here for trends, we're here to build something real. That's your job, to give people something that they can repeat, share, and believe in. But there's one more piece that's going to tie all of this together, because if your content is solid, your message is strong, and your people are leaning in, what do you do with all that energy? That's what we're going to cover next. You've made it this far, and that means something's actually clicking. And let me know in the comments below what has clicked for you so far, because you're not here to just make content. You're here to build a community, a group of people who don't just watch, but they come back over and over again. Again, they're going to share your stuff. They're going to refer people to you. They stick around even when things get quiet. But even with all of that trust and all of that attention, all of that clarity, if you don't give people a clear next step, it's just going to fizzle out. Because people want to take action. They just don't know how. That's why this last piece is vital. And you need to understand everything I'm going to say. Because you need a simple, friction-free, right? Like next step. Something your audience can do immediately that moves them deeper into your world. And I do mean simple, right? No stupid 5-step funnels anymore, no complicated offers, no pressure. Just what's the next best step someone can take if they're feeling aligned with you. Let me walk you through how to think about this. Step 1 is make it one clear action. Not 10 and not a menu, just one. Because when people have too many options, they freeze. For me, it's my free group. It's where the deeper conversations happen, where people can ask questions and get more support, more feedback, and see the kind of real strategy that actually moves the needle. You don't need a massive audience to make this work either. You just need one clear door that people can walk through. So what's yours? Let me know in the comments below because I'm really interested. Step 2 is set the expectation, right? You don't want to just drop a link and hope people click. Tell them what to expect when they take that next step, because again, clarity is going to build confidence. If you say DM me, tell them what happens after they DM you. If you invite them to your group, tell them what they're going to get, and don't overpromise. And I'm not saying that you need to oversell, just be honest. So for example, if you join my group, you're going to get access to the behind the scenes strategy, content reviews on your channel for your business, and support from others in from other business owners that are really just like you. That's it. It's real, it's grounded, and you can touch that, right? That's what moves people. And step 3 is make it feel like a natural continuation. So the next step should feel like the obvious of course moment, right? It should flow directly from everything that they've just heard, because when someone's been nodding along for 15 or 20 minutes, right, they're ready. You've called out their frustrations, you've shown them what's possible, you've given them the mindset and the message to believe in what you're saying. Now give them a place to act on it, a place to start putting into motion, because here's what I've learned, over the years. The longer someone sits in, yeah, this is good info, without a next step, the faster they just drift back into overwhelm. So be the one who actually leads. This is what's going to turn your content into a community. If you want to learn more about connecting with your audience to attract the right people and build a community, make sure you watch this next video.